Hey guys, it's me Lilly, and today I want to welcome you to my urban garden. And as you can see, it's wintertime and really cold and windy. And yeah, let's go inside of the greenhouse because there will be less wind. And today I want to discuss with you how you can fertilize your garden. Stay tuned. Okay guys, so today I want to talk about fertilization. So first I want to talk about why I'm not a fan of artificial fertilizers. Okay, why am I against artificial fertilizers? I know a lot of people use them, but hear me out on this, okay? When you look at the artificial fertilizer, it just contains NPK in its pure form and sometimes trace minerals, and that's it. It will do its job, you know? It will fertilize the plants and they are happy and you will have a really good harvest. But that's not going to be for a very long time because they do not feed the soil. They only feed the plants, and that's a bad thing, okay? So let's talk about an alternative to artificial fertilizers, which is, for example, compost soil, which you can buy in every gardener store, okay? And I do not have compost soil here right now, but it basically looks like this very black fluffy stuff, and it's essentially compost, which means it's composted plant materials. And in this compost you will have the same, you know, you will have NPK and some trace minerals, but besides that you will also have some humus content, which is essential for a healthy soil. So you really want to have some humus in your fertilizer because this will feed all of the microorganisms, bacteria, protozoa, nematodes, but also it will feed the earthworms, which is really important. So all of these organisms will keep the soil really fluffy and it will counteract, you know, soil compaction, and then you will have a great potential of water retention. And if you use some artificial fertilizer, it might work for a couple of years, you know, but in the end you will end up with soil looking like this, which is compacted and there's almost no microbial life in it, no earthworms, and you will have a lot of erosion because the water will run off quickly. And yeah, so in the long term artificial fertilizers only damage the soil instead of feeding it, and this is why I like to have organic fertilizers, you know, compost soil or horse manure, which I have right here. Okay, so today I want to fertilize these raised beds with some horse manure, and I've gotten this from a friend, and it's a really strong fertilizer, and that's why I'm using it. And if you don't have access to horses, you can also use chicken manure, pig manure, cow manure. It's all going to work. And as I said before, if you don't have, you know, access to any manure at all, then you can always buy some compost soil in the shop. Okay, now let's open up this bucket here. Okay, so this horse manure here is actually composted. So it's not a fresh manure, but it was lying at the side of the stable for about half a year. So the compost process is finished, and this is really the best fertilizer that you can get. So it's perfect, you know. It has a lot of humus content and also it has a lot of earthworms. Okay, so now I want to fertilize my raised beds, but how much of this fertilizer should I use? Now the rule of thumb is that for heavy feeders, tomatoes for example, or cucumbers, pumpkins, you know, they need a lot of nutrition. So for those plants, for the heavy feeders, you use about 10 liters of compost soil per square meter. 10 liters plus minus 1, okay? Or minus 2. So 8 to 12 liters. And of course it really depends on how much you have fertilized the soil in the last year and what plants you had in here in the last year. So last year I had tomatoes in here, and this year I want to plant tomatoes again, but only at this spot here. So here I have about half a square meter. So I have about 1.5 square meters in here, and this means that I need about 15 liters of horse manure or compost soil. Okay, so I think in here I have about 10 liters. So I'm going to add about 1.5 buckets of horse manure to these raised beds. Okay, that's it. The rest goes outside. Now here I want to show you another fertilizer, which is basically horn shavings. Okay, it looks like this. And I fertilize the raised beds with them because it's pure nitrogen. And tomatoes actually need a lot of nitrogen. And this is why I'm using it. So I'm just taking a handful of horn shavings for each of the raised beds here, or maybe 2. So this is it for the greenhouse. Oh my god. Okay, now I want to fertilize this raised bed. In the last year there were no tomatoes. I had some parsnip here and onions, so no heavy feeders. Hey, look at this. Just found some vermicompost. This, ladies and gentlemen, this is earthworm poo. Okay, so this year I had a couple of sunflowers standing here, and actually they broke off, and it seems like the earthworms have eaten the rest of the stalk of the sunflowers. So this is the crab of an earthworm, or several earthworms, and it's one of the most potent fertilizers that you can have. That's pretty good. Okay guys, so this is it. This is how you can fertilize your raised beds or your field. So there are many fertilizers which are environmentally friendly and which are not artificial. So yeah, I really want to thank you for watching guys. Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.